the COVID leak. So as you know, COVID devastated the world and America for about 2 years. And all of us were disrupted. Some of us still haven't recovered. Some of us died. Some of us have long COVID to this day, a weakened immune system, and all of that. In my lifetime, next to 9/11, that was the worst thing that's happened to this country, the COVID pandemic. And we still don't know how it got here, all right, and how it was developed, because the Chinese will not cooperate. They will not let United Nations investigators, World Health Organization people, go to the Wuhan lab, which was the center, ground zero of COVID. So the Chinese are villains, and they're covering something up. Nobody knows what. Okay, there's speculation. COVID has been used for political gain. Okay, all of that has been in play. It is my job to cut through all that and to tell you the truth as I can ascertain it. So, here we go. The Wall Street Journal got a hold of information from the federal government, okay? And the information says that COVID probably leaked out of the Wuhan lab. This is from the Department of Energy. But in that assessment, the DOE says it has low confidence in the conclusion. What does that mean? It means it can't prove it, primarily. The FBI says the exact same thing. COVID came out of the lab. It has moderate confidence in its conclusion, which means it has more evidence, the FBI does, than the Department of Energy. Third, the CIA has not weighed in at all. Now, they're the agency that should know, because they're in charge of foreign intel. They haven't weighed in. Okay. When I read this, I believe it. I believe that COVID leaked out of that lab, that scientists there were investigating a virus, okay, trying to find out where it came from, if it came from a bat, if it came from a snake, a dog. They were analyzing it, Chinese scientists. And somebody in that lab got infected and walked out to the streets of Wuhan, 8 million people in the city, and boom, there you go. That's what I think happened based upon my reportage over the last 2.5 years. I could be wrong. Now, immediately the pinheads, and I'm including Dr. Fauci from the CDC in the pinhead description, sought to politicize the COVID situation. Roll the tape.
Now, a lot of people on the right love that phrase, escape from the lab, because it sounds like something from a Marvel movie or a comic book. It sounds like they're talking about a man-made virus that China was weaponizing that got out of control.
I have always said that the high likelihood is that this is a natural occurrence. I didn't dismiss anything. I just said it's a high likelihood that this is a natural occurrence from the environment of an animal reservoir that we have not yet identified.
He's the worst. And I didn't come to that conclusion in any kind of quick way. While the conservative commentators were killing him in the beginning, I held back. But now I can tell you he's the absolute worst. Doesn't know what he's doing. Okay. So you had that situation where it was politicized and people believe what they want to believe. It always goes back to that. Okay? Some people on the right believe that this was a weapon from China and China did it on purpose and that China infected the world on purpose. That's what they believe. They want to believe that. On the left, I don't know what the heck. Why does Hayes, who's ridiculous. He's just a ridiculous human being. Why does he object to somebody saying, I think it might have come out of that lab? Why? There's no answer to that question. Okay, but the worst part of this story isn't the speculation. Fauci was bad, but this is worse than Fauci, was the social media that censored it. So Facebook removed any discussion from the lab leak story in May 2021. They just wiped it out. It wasn't allowed to be discussed. And YouTube did the same thing. So if you said, like I just did, I think it came from that Wuhan lab, boom, you were wiped out. That's serious business now. And this new Congress has got to really zero in on this kind of totalitarian censorship. Now, to its credit, Twitter did not do that. Okay? Just so we're trying to be fair across the board here. So let's sum up. The evidence so far compiled says that COVID infected someone in the Wuhan lab, the person walked out and infected the world. That's how it happened. That's the evidence that we have, okay? But it's not conclusive. That's not conclusive. Will it ever be? I don't think so, because China will not cooperate. That's the memo.